Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Monday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, 2024. We are officially done with 25% of the entire year. So far, this year is flying by. We're 25% of the way in. Unbelievable. Before you know it, it's going to be the middle of summer, and we'll be in the middle of some kind of big correction or something, according to everybody. So, all right, let's jump into it. So we had a good day today. In our accounts, markets were down a bit today, which is always great for us. The more the markets can drop, the better we're going to do. We really start to outperform the markets in a sideways to a slightly downtrending market. So let's get into that and take a look where we are. So overall, had a great day. Let's take a quick look at the markets, and then we'll jump into the account itself. Let me get off the screen so you can see everything that we're doing. There we go. All right, cool. Let's get into it. So on the markets today, overall, a bit of a down day. Markets were down about 14 points on ES, so S&P down 11 points on the day, just 0.2%. So not really much of an anything day, but if you really start to take a look at what's going on here, it's kind of the same theme for the last week or two. I feel like a broken record here, but if you're looking at the weekly chart here, which to me is what makes the most sense for what we do in trade here at the Income Navigator, is I'm trading 60, 90, and 120-day trades. So what's going on in the daily doesn't have a whole lot of effect on what we do, but the weekly does. So we did manage to pop up and set a new all-time high in ES today, but overall the day was down, came down and touched again this 9 EMA, and we have just ridden this 9 EMA barely. Only once or twice have we even broken it and touched the 21. So we'll see if that happens. But on the weekly chart, this is another. Yeah, it's only one bar, first day of the week. Can't really hang your hat on anything here. But last week, MACD started to roll over a bit. And then this week, maybe that continues. We'll see. Who knows? Tomorrow, we could rally 50 points. And then all of that is just a moot point. But looking at RSI, continue to be overbought here. And we have been overbought all the way back since February of this year. So middle of February. So over a month and a half overbought. Are we going to start to see this thing start to come down here, or do we just continue to stay overbought for a while? But you're maybe seeing a little bit of slowing, and definitely on the squeeze here, this big momentum rally, there's 4 bars in a row to the downside, and then potentially we'll see what this month or this week does. So we're overbought, maybe stalling out a fraction. Okay, but this thing's still continuing to move at a pretty good clip, and I think any good pullback might be another reason to go higher. There really isn't any reason from the Fed or the government or anyone else or any stocks, news, earnings, nothing. There's just no reason to think that the market should sell off significantly, except the fact that they're just frankly overbought and a pullback would be necessary. I just don't know what the catalyst would be to really stop this freight train from moving forward. Anyway, so there's the ES, maybe slowing down a tad. We'll see. Any pullback here would be a good opportunity, I think. If we take a look at oil today, oil, big day today. So over here on the daily, we broke out, moving to the upside, broke out of this uptrending channel that we've been in, that dates all the way back to December of last year. We're finally breaking out to the upside on this channel, but we're not overbought at all. So RSI, nowhere near overbought, nowhere near the 3 ATR, squeeze, firing a tight squeeze here. So we've been in a squeeze since the middle of March, or since the beginning of March, and finally got a green squeeze fire bar here. So oil maybe starting to give a little bit of a takeoff here. One of my favorite patterns really set up here, and it moved to the upside. If we're looking at the weekly overall, MACD rising, RSI rising, squeeze might trigger to the upside, but you've been in a pretty good squeeze, as I mentioned, for quite some time. So just bullish oil. There's just no reason not to be bullish on oil. We took off some trades today and put some new ones on. We're just going to ride, we're going to ride the wave. We were chatting a little bit in the Discord today that, simply just trade what you see. Everybody worried about news and here's why everything's moving. I don't care why it's moving. You just look at the charts and trade what you see. Okay. Any news that would come out, it's going to get reflected in the price. So just watch the price action. Okay? And that's all you have to do to know which direction I want to go. Which direction are we going? What's going to give me the best odds of being successful? Just watch the price action. Turn off CNBC, turn off Bloomberg, turn off Twitter, stay off of all of those news. You guys are going to enjoy life 100% more when you ignore the news and realize this news is noise. Oh, why is copper, it's China, they're buying up copper. China's buying up all the gold in the world, people. Okay, stop. Who cares? It doesn't matter, really. Just watch the price action and trade what you see. And let your probabilities play out. It's going to help you so much more become a much better trader when you just don't spend so much time trying to read and figure out why everything's, just trade what you see, right? Gold, speaking of trading what you see, gold continues to just be on fire. I don't care why it's moving the way it's moving. You just play it, okay? So we actually closed some gold trades today for winners. What would you trade here when MACD is cranking up, RSI is moving up on the weekly, you're in a squeeze, it fired a week ago to the upside, you knew this thing was moving higher, what are you doing? Okay, you're riding the 3 ATR band for 2 weeks in a row, and we're already above it this week, setting new all-time highs in gold here, and looking at the daily chart, MACD rising, RSI is rising. Now, both RSI for weekly and daily are into overbought territory, but squeeze is firing back up again. Yeah, this thing is just cranking. Again, well, here's why. I don't care why it's happening. All I care is it's happening. What are we trading? What are you doing when gold is just ripping higher? Are you going to be putting on strangles here? No. Okay, we're putting on trades like 112s, we're putting on ratio spreads, okay? And now I'm going to back off because I'm now a bit overbought. So I'm going to slow down on the ratio spread type stuff, expecting maybe some kind of a pullback coming, but it can still continue to move higher. So just play what you see, folks. All right, bonds. Okay, before we jump into bonds, let's just take a quick look at the dollar today. Breaking out of this downtrend 2 weeks ago on the downtrend. And look, I mean, this thing is just pounded higher last week. MACD, RSI, squeeze, all firing to the upside. The dollar is on an absolute tear, higher on the daily, and the dollar has been on a tear on the weekly for 4 to 5 weeks now. Okay, really, you can even go back a little bit further, but for 4 straight weeks now, the dollar has just been cranking its way higher. RSI, squeeze, firing, everything, everything's moving higher on the dollar. Play what you see, trade what you see. Okay, so how is that affecting bonds? Okay, dollars cranking higher, bonds are cranking a bit lower. Bonds have been in this downtrend channel since the beginning of the year. Nothing has changed. Bottom of channel, top of channel, bottom of channel, top of channel, middle of channel, back to the top, and now a sell-off that's in here. So overall, what do you see? Trade what you see here. If we're looking at the weekly chart, momentum's been slowly coming down, but this is not a massive sell-off, by the way. You've dropped from a high of 125 to 118. Okay, so that's not a big drop. Okay, 7 ticks on bonds in 3 full months. I mean, it's run from 109 to 125, and it took about the same amount of time. That was a move. This is just a sideways move with some downtrending action. I'm not super worried about where bonds are going here. In fact, I think this is playing into our hands pretty nicely, but you're just floundering right around, look, on the weekly here, you're just stuck on the 18 EMA, okay, and the 9 EMA. It's just sideways action. Okay, the 50 EMA is above it. We can't seem to be getting above it, but that's okay. We're also not crashing to the downside. Good down day today. Finished off of our lows. Okay, I like where we are in bonds. I think we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow, but I think with this downside move, this is going to set up nicely, give us some more strangle and some other opportunities, I think, in bonds. All right, so let's take a quick look at copper. Okay. Moving strongly to the upside on the weekly. Okay. Decent MACD, but it's stalled a bit. RSI has been pushing higher. Now, the squeeze, in and out of a squeeze for the most part, but this thing is in a tight to medium squeeze and moving higher. All the moving averages, and you've got the 50 starting to get its way, moving up here. We don't have any kind of the golden cross yet on the 50 and 200, but you're not far from it as these things continue to stay above all of the moving averages. Looking at the daily, just a nice pullback right to this uptrend line, and boom, bounced off of it. Nice update today with MACD reversing, RSI reversing higher. Squeeze still just in this downward momentum, not in a squeeze, just losing a little momentum here. I think this is setting up nicely for a trade. We actually put a new trade on in copper today. Okay, taking a look at the NASDAQ, not a whole lot different than the S&P when we look at it, but just floundering sideways on the daily in a bearish PSAR signal, but this is just sideways consolidation. But overall, I think you've got a bit of a, ascending triangle here, one of my favorite patterns to take a look at. But you've just got this nice stair step upward. Let's see what happens. Can we hold this uptrend line? If we break it and we break the 21, that's the only time I'm going to start to watch some things. Right. So right now you're bullish, and you might as well play it bullish. But I think you'd be cautious a bit here. And then RSI is just flat with some squeeze, losing a little bit of momentum. All right, RTY. So the Russell, a pretty good little pullback today. Momentum's been slowly coming out on the MACD and the squeeze for several weeks now, but RSI has been pushing higher on it. So overall, a bit of a bullish trend above the 21. All the moving averages are stacked, but look at what's going on in here. If we zoom in just a bit more, you've got the 50 about to cross the 200. That would be what we call, again, the golden cross. That's a very bullish sign. So I think any pullback here, with this about to happen on the weekly, I think this is setting itself up for a nice long uptrend move, and we are prepared with multiple trades that are bullish in nature. So I like RTY where it is. I love the pullback today. I think that's setting up nicely for us. You're in a squeeze, a really tight squeeze, has not fired at all, okay, since January. So let's see what happens. Do we really get something cranking here? And then we'll take a look at the Aussie dollar and really any of the other Forex. You're in a bit of a descending triangle here. Definitely with the dollar strengthening, this is weakening a bit. Strong squeeze, downside momentum. I think you just watch it here. I'm not saying this thing is crashing or anything else, and I don't know how high the dollar goes and how high these can go, but you've been in this nice trending channel. You've got the 3 ATR levels starting to pinch in a bit. I think that's good to see, and that shows us just a bit of the IV, maybe volatility starting to pinch in a bit. At least on the weekly, which is what I'm paying more attention to. So sideways action just below the 21. Everything's bearish, and that's what we would expect to see on the Aussie dollar and on the euro here. Again, we're bearish. We're heading back down towards some support levels. We'll see what happens on those particular support levels. And I really don't want to cover too much else. I knew we have some people in LE. This was setting up in a decent ascending triangle pattern, okay? But it really couldn't get any momentum to move above this this 190 level, which is its high in here. But if you really, draw a bit of more of a, I think it was probably right in this range here, okay, that we were watching. Okay, but just like any other ascending triangle pattern, you're looking more for, and I'm popping up just quickly here. Okay, I want to, and this is the highest point that it's been in quite some time. Was just a couple weeks ago. But really, this ascending triangle, you looked at it thinking, okay, if we break this, okay, we could be off to the races to the top. We did not. We broke down through it. And again, until you break it, okay, and get some follow through, it's not really a valid breakout of it. So we've just tap, 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 tap. We had one little high here. And if we go back and look at the monthly pattern on this thing, I mean, you're back to 09 on this, and we're at the highest levels on LE that we've been. But live cattle, if you don't get the breakout, okay, and it doesn't confirm it, okay, we might have a double top in here as well on the weekly. So you're looking at potentially a double top, a breakdown of the channel, and then you broke the 21. You had the 9 breaking the 21, then you broke the 50 back here, kind of meandered around with it, broke it further, and headed all the way down to the bottom of the 3 ATR and also the 200 in here. Do we find some support in here? Maybe. We'll see what happens. Take a quick look at the fibs on these. If you look at the fib levels as well, you didn't come down to the 50 yet, so we could maybe find some support in here. You get the 618 and the 50 of this recent move up. That's where I would be looking to find some support. If we can find some support in here, I think then maybe this thing sets up for a decent strangle trade, because I think you're in the middle of the ATR bands on the weekly. I'm not there yet, and I'm just going to watch this thing accelerate to the downside for a bit. But I think there's some spots in here to call a little bit of a bottom in it. And then quickly looking at oil, not much going on with oil volatility because oil's just been racing. But if we take a look at gold volatility really spiking on this move. So gold is having not only a significant up move, but its volatility is spiking, and it's got an IVR right now of 73. So this is as high as gold has spiked from an IVR level, which is really nice to see. I think if we get any sort of a pullback in here, a strangle would be a great opportunity for gold with an IVR up in here. You are overbought. Let's see what happens if we get any kind of a downside move in here on gold. All right, there's where we are. Quickly just touching on sectors today. Really, it was all semiconductors, but the tech stocks. You had XLK up about 0.3%, XLC Communications up about 0.7%, and then energy and oil leading the way. Everything else to the downside, and the biggest loser of the day, down 2%, were your regional banks. This is putting pressure on the Russell. Now, descending triangle pattern here. Stretch this thing out a bit here. So you're in a decent descending triangle. However, you break to the upside, okay, then this invalidates it quite a bit, and now you're in really more of a trading range in here. So you invalidated a bit of this triangle pattern here. So I'm not too worried about the breakout to the downside on it. If we look at the weekly, sideways, there's just nothing going on in the weekly. I do like the way real estate's starting to set up a bit in here. So we're going to keep an eye on real estate. Looking at the weekly pattern, it's falling a bit, entering a squeeze. Let's add the 50 level on our RSI so that we can get a sense of where momentum might start to pick up for this particular trade. Overall, Okay, there we go. Okay, so on the weekly, heading lower. Okay, everything's heading down a bit, but not significantly. It's just really about the same as it's been for months. And then on the daily as well, just up and down and up and down. Does real estate get itself going? We'll see what happens. Other than that, no other real sectors to watch. And then stocks, we're going to do a session tomorrow on technical analysis. So we'll really take a look at some stocks. I think there's interesting setups. I know this has a ton of lines on it, so just forget about it for right now. On Apple, it remains in this descending wedge pattern, which it could break out of. We'll keep watching it. We have some support down here. I think this is not a bad place to start to play Apple a little longer term. Microsoft, a little bit of an ascending triangle pattern. Amazon, ascending triangle pattern, breaking out today, like Amazon, for a long trade in here. I don't mean a long-term long trade. I believe a little bit of a swing trade breakout here in Amazon, I think looks good. We got Meta trying to hang inside this range, still to the downside, but we'll see. Do we start to do we hold this support level or not? We'll see what happens. Google breakout today, big move on Google, setting new highs in here on Google, or at least new recent highs on Google in here. If we go back to the monthly, this is the highest point we've been at. So definitely new all-time highs in Google, ascending wedge pattern, my favorite, breakout to the upside, like the move. Let's see what happens. In Google, NVIDIA, starting to set up in a bit of that ascending triangle because there's a lot of things in here to move up. And then Tesla, it's kind of this downtrending channel. With inside of that, you also have a falling wedge. We break this to the upside. I think Tesla could be a really good opportunity in here. So I'm liking Apple and Tesla for more like leap plays that we see. You've got Netflix breaking out of this ascending wedge pattern to the downside, which is a bit bearish for Netflix after its big run that it's had. I'm going to add the 50 in here. I'm not going to show it. We're going to change this. So there's where we are on the 50, bouncing off of it. All this time in this ascending wedge, and you just saw the momentum just coming out. You knew the failure was coming. The question is, do we really get the break of the 21 EMA there? And then I just want to pop up a couple popular stocks for people. Trading Palantir. Here's what I want to point out about Palantir in here. If you're taking a look at this daily chart, you can't really draw it well on Thinkorswim charting here, but look, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline. You got Palantir sitting right on the neckline with MACD, RSI, squeeze, all falling to the downside. And if we're looking at the weekly, MACD, RSI, both coming down, even though you have the squeeze firing to the upside. So if Palantir does not hold this level here, I think you see a little bit more selling coming off. The 9 broke to 21. Doesn't mean we're going to struggle here, but this 50 EMA is the same thing. Do we break? Today, we triggered a bearish PSR signal. I think Palantir to the downside, something to keep an eye on. And then MicroStrategy, which is one of my Bitcoin plays, nice pullback on it, even though Bitcoin itself, if we're watching that, might be in a bit of an ascending triangle. If we break this 7,400 level, 74,000 level here, I think you see Bitcoin continue to make a run higher, especially if the markets start to sell off a bit. I'd keep an eye on Bitcoin. I think flight to safety is a bit of a misnomer in here, but I do like what we're seeing here. And even if you're looking at coin, all of these have this same ascending triangle pattern. really haven't been able to get above it. But if you break on coin or Bitcoin or any of these, you're off to the races. All right, so let's just get into our account today. I know I took a little bit of time here for some charting, but I think it's helpful to get a sense of where things are. All right, so we finished the month last month up $8,475, about 1.8%. Didn't hit our 3% target, but we did take a couple losses on some strangles. So I think I'm pretty ecstatic the fact that we pulled $8,500 out last month. If we look at our 3 months in total, okay, we are now up $54,000 in 3 months. 54,000 in 3 months, smashing the goals overall. If we don't count this month's goal, we are up $14,000. Obviously, we're down to this month's goal because it's only 1 day. But prior to this, we were up almost $14,000 to our goal for the year. So I'm pretty ecstatic with where we are. We've had a 5% month, a 6.5% month, and then about a 1% month. So overall, really happy with where we are. We are up almost 13% in realized gains and up a little bit over 12% in net lick for the year, with the S&P still doing well at 10.5%, but we are outdistancing a hot S&P, and if we get any kind of a pullback, we're really going to put it to shame here. So I like what we're doing overall. We managed to close out today, first day of April, up 1690, so no April Fools there. Our April is already off and running to some new highs. In fact, we set a new all-time high today. So again, no April Fools today, new all-time high in the account, and up 1690 today. So we closed a bunch of trades. Let's jump into those particular trades and see what we did and give you some idea of what we closed. So we actually had 4 trades in here that we closed on the session. So 4 trades on the session. The first trade was a 0 DTE trade. We put that on early. 30 minutes later, took that off for a 56% winner. It was a pretty easy call spread. So call credit spread, 0 DTE. We posted it in the active trader service for the members. So a nice 0 DTE win there. And we're off and running on 0 DTE. And 0 DTE for us overall in our account has been pretty nice for us this year. We are up on 0 DTE over $4,000, and we don't play it every single day, but when we have played it, we've had a pretty good run of 0 DTE trades. So I will, in fact, let's take a quick look pivot table wise. Let's take a look down here. If we look at our 0 DTE trades, we have won 28 out of 30 trades. 28 out of 30 trades this year. So 93% in 0 DTE trades for $4,000. And we've only placed 30 of these trades. We could have done more. We just haven't had the time to sit there and play them like we wanted to. But our strategy is working out very well on those. Now, what else did we do today? So we did close here on ES. We closed naked calls that we had put on when the market was overbought. We sat in these things for 54 days overall. We took them off today for a 50% winner, almost 50%, 48.8 to be exact. We took them off. Why did we do that? Because these were actually sitting there chewing up a ton of buying power. And you would think that even though I have naked puts on, that these would offset, but they really didn't. They were sitting there chewing up almost $30,000 in buying power. So we just took the trade off overall, and for 50% winner, freed up a ton of buying power so we can get some more trades on. We also had an oil naked put come off, part of one of our 120-day trades. We took that off at 40%, so that came off today for a nice $540 winner. And then we also had naked puts of a gold 112. This was actually a 2-112 trade. We've closed the calls, and then we closed the naked puts now. So we've had 2 nice winners on this gold 112, and we're sitting on a PDS. We'll see if that thing shakes its way out. but we did get a bunch of new trades on today. So we had a really good, productive day overall. So let's get back and just talk a bit about what we did on the session today. So I like where we are. We've got our buying power back under 50%. So that's setting us up pretty well. What did we put on today? We got a trade in copper today. So a bullish trade in copper today. We put on a hedge. So our monthly hedge went on in ES today. So we put the hedge on today. So we got a hedge. We got a bullish trade in copper today. And then we also put on a BA 112 trade in ES. We've already got one working in ES, and we already have one in NASDAQ. So we got another BA 112 trade on today. We went over all the differences between the FB and the BA 112 trades. Those are setting up really nice right now. And then we also put on another naked put trade, so another bullish trade in oil today. And then we also put on a long-term 112 trade in ES. So overall, what is that, like five or so trades today. So a great day, taking trades off for some winners, freeing up a ton of buying power, putting a bunch more trades on, keeping our deltas pretty much in line with where we want to be. And we're just finding those individual underlyings that are performing in a certain way, setting up the way we want to trade them, and we're putting on the strangles. So we're really diversifying by strangles. Right now, if I take a quick look at my overall allocation, we're at 32% in ES. It's not too bad. So only 32% of our trades are in ES, buying power wise. 15% of our trades are in oil, 9% in RTY, 8% in bonds, 7% in the Aussie dollar, 5% in NASDAQ, and then you've got copper sitting back there right around the 4% mark as well. And then in bill, we're sitting at 17%. One of the reasons we didn't have a better day today from a net lick standpoint was today's bill distribution day. Okay, so we dropped, our bill dropped in value by the exact amount of the distribution. In 8 more days, that's going to hit our account, or 7 more days or so, that's going to hit our account. So we're going to realize that money right back into the account in the net lick. So that'll be realized in the net lick. And we're at, overall, give you guys a sense of where we are. We're sitting on $192,000 worth of bill in this particular account. We're using 10% of our margin to fund $192,000 worth of bill, and that's paying us a nice little distribution every single month, paying for probably about a third of our hedging is paid for by bill. So again, hedging is a must for everybody. You should be hedging, but hedge what needs to be hedged, understand what you're hedging, how much you're hedging, and then how hedges all cost something. They're never free. I'm using a variety of different trades and wins to fund my hedging, and I'm okay doing it that way. So like where we are from a hedge standpoint, like where we are from a diversification standpoint. So we're running in great shape. All right, so April 1st in the books. 1/4 of the year is gone. If you like today's video, if you would, down below, go ahead and click that thumbs up. Give us a like here. Let's try to get to 200 likes. That's my goal here. If you're not a member of the YouTube channel as a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Let's keep sharing this with as many people as we can. Let's help everybody learn to trade, create a trading plan, stress-free trading, really, for the most part. Understand your mindset, a trading plan, and then really how to just consistently make income every single month. That's what we've been doing. We're up almost 13% this year, as we just showed. In fact, it's 12.75%, to be honest, for the year in 3 months. Okay, we're over 4% a month. Okay, and that's not even our goal. It just happens to be working out that way, and we're under allocated on buying power right now. Okay, so if you want to trade consistently, you want to learn how to get better, come and join us. Okay, either join up here on the YouTube channel, but if you really want the inner workings, you want to see those trades live, come and join us in the Income Navigator service over on Discord. Join the service, and you guys will you'll love what you see there. Get a trade plan, understand how to manage your risk there, understand how to hedge, understand how to become consistent, and understand how to get that mind right. All right, take care, everybody. Enjoy a fantastic rest of your day. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.